Hi, I'm Claudia Li Tang. Welcome to the session on selecting your courses in the computer science, math, and physical sciences. Today, this is what we will be covering during this session. Just wanted to let you know that Andrew Yin will be coming in and out to jot down and answer some of your questions on the chat, and I will probably be able to answer the questions, some of the questions that may be missed at the end of the meeting. So without further ado, I'm going to be delving right into it, and hopefully we'll leave some time at the end for you to answer some of your questions. So in this session, we will cover some of the strategies for choosing your first year courses, focusing on computer science, math, physical sciences programs. Pattern in some of the required first year courses, math and first year courses in science programs, and showing you how to build your timetable with the Faculty of Arts and Science timetable tool. We will also, at the end, do a checklist of the key dates for completing your courses, course enrollments and registration on July 22nd. As you know, there's actually a priority enrollment period that will start on July 22nd, according to the year of study that you've been admitted. So because most of you are admitted for the first year, the date, this is a very important date that you may very much want to jot down and have your course selections and timetable ready to be able to enroll on this date at your specific start time, which you can view starting on July 5th. So some of the tools that you will need for planning your course selections are the Innis 101 Quarkus course, which you probably have already seen, started looking at some of the modules in terms of like guiding you through. So this session is designed basically to go through the entire course selection process, and with the emphasis on the timetable and making your timetable. And of course, if you missed anything, you can always go back to Quarkus 101 and select the modules and just go back to the sessions. You will also be able to find a lot of useful information in terms of acclimatizing yourself and in preparation for coming in to start classes in September, be it where to get books and how to get your how to get your, if you're coming in from an international outside of Canada, how to get your get all the international or quarantine accommodations, etc. So then the third thing that you will need is I would highly recommend that you actually bookmark this Arts and Science u.utoronto.ca current page. From here, you'll access the calendar and the timetable tool, as well as get information from many departments' websites in order to plan your course selection for July 22nd. So this is what you'll see. Many of you probably this morning, Denise has already talked about the calendar, and that is where you'll find the degree requirements and program requirements that will guide you to select your first year courses. Then the timetable is a tool where you will go and find the listing of courses that are offering and when they are offered, so that you can start building your timetable. All of these information combined is what you will need to go into Acorn on July 22nd and actually enter the right courses for you. So you will see from the timetable, you'll be able to find, okay, what courses are offered in the first term, second term, or throughout the year. And you need to plan your timetable for both terms for the year. Okay, so let's talk about some of the strategies for choosing your first year courses, especially in your admission category. So the first thing you would want to do is select some of the core courses based on the programs in which you are interested. It is helpful to try listing at least 3 possible programs that you may be able to apply at the end of your first year. All students, first-year students, once they complete 4 complete credits, they will be asked to declare their programs, either a combination of a specialist, major, or a minor. So that the following year, in second year, you will be able to be given priority based on the programs that you're enrolled in. So generally speaking, if, let's say, you pick a few programs and you start listing up the core courses that are required in order to gain admissions toward when you apply at the end of your first year, it is also important to know that your fall winter session course load is typically five courses if you are planning to take a full-time course load. So you can start making a list, and then if you probably a list of core courses, and then to make up the 5 full credits, you could fill it in with elective courses. So it is important that even when you're picking your elective courses, that you be intentional at this point in terms of following your interests and seeing where potentially some of these elective courses that you think that you're interested may actually lead or complement your main area of studies. So all of this actually helps to give you options towards at the end in your first year when you're applying for programs. You will recall that you can apply up to 3 programs at the end of your first year, and you can have a combination of either 2 specialists, 2 majors, or 1 major and 2 minors in order to complete your degree requirements. You could also consider doing a checklist at the end when you check your course list to see what kind of breadth requirements do they fulfill. Now, you don't always have to finish or complete all your 4 full credits of breadth requirements in your first year, but it's always a good idea to always, after checking, making your course list, to kind of note what kind of breadth requirements are you covering. If there's something of the breadth requirements areas that you're missing and you're still needing to fill your course load, then you could always consider branching out and seeing what other courses that you may be interested fall into these breadth requirements. And finally, the key thing about being in your first year is actually your opportunity to explore. And keep your options open in your first year so that you are able to fine-tune your programs in later years. For example, even if you are interested in doing a specialist in computer science, for example, I think you can also easily look at all the other focus programs, the different focuses in that program to kind of see what are the patterns in those focuses, that especially the cross-listed courses that you may be interested. Sometimes these cross-listed courses can lead you to other programs that you could potentially consider majoring or minor, even on top of a specialist if you wanted to. So the key thing is really in your first year is to make sure that you try to explore your courses. Once you fine-tune it every year, you'll have an opportunity to adjust your programs all the way through graduation. Now, what are the patterns for the first year required courses? When you go to the calendar, you will be able to see that the computer science offers a combination of computer science specialists with a lot of different focuses, and then which are areas in they're helpful in a sense that it will help. The focus are not mandatory that you have to complete it for your graduation. However, those focuses can help you find themes within the program to focus on. So they will have a cluster of courses, and sometimes may even include courses that are cross-listed from other disciplines that may be applicable to that. So that would always help you to build your timetable. But the core courses that you need to get into the program or be admitted into the program at the end of first year there are two ways to do this. One is if you were admitted to the computer science admission category, you are able to, you will need to actually take CSE 110Y and complete it with a 70 at the end, CSE 111 and complete it with a 77, as well as one of these math core variants, Math 137 and Math 57. We'll talk a little bit about variants, the difference between them a little bit later on. So, sorry. And then for students who have not been admitted or are not admitted to the computer science direct guarantee admission category, but wishes to enroll in the program or prepare for it, or you stumble upon it and then decide you really want to apply for it, that's fine. What you would do is you would take these two courses, CSE 148 and 165H combination. Now, you will notice here that it notes here that they are going to be considering a variable minimum grade, as well as there's an application process which will require supplementary application at the end. So usually it is the minimum grade in these courses will have to be minimally 70%, but the variable minimum grade indicates that they will have to look at the average of these two courses towards the end, and the cutoff will be determined really based on the pool of applicants at the end. So we won't know that until they get all the applications. So another note about this is if you are completely new to computer science, then in your first year, it is recommended that you would start with taking CSE 108, which is the introduction to programming. And you will take this in the first term and the CSE 148, 165 in the second term. For more information on how the admission category, the computer science admission category works in terms of you have to complete all these requirements by the end of your second year. So including summer courses, if you need to, to complete, let's say, the Math 137. So for more information, you could definitely go back and check the admission guarantee information. But moving on, there are many other programs that students admitted in the Math and Physical Science could consider, and these are just a few. It's not exhaustive, but yeah, I have listed some of them here. So there's actuarial science, astronomy, physics, chemistry. Some of them are combined with joint with other faculties like engineering. And material science offers this program, and you will have to see. And this is a joint program. And then there's also another joint program that is bioinformatics, which is a combination of biology and biochemistry and computer science. So when you look at the pattern here, most of these math and physical science programs, the common denominator is the math. So they would either require a variation of either of Math 137, 157, look at that, or 135, combination of 135, 136. So how do you decide then, when you see the slash means that you have a choice. So how do you decide which course to take? That's a really good question. So you would look at the mark, for example, minimum mark. For some programs, they may require a minimum mark. You'll notice here that the requirement for Bachelor of Science, for example, would require a minimum grade of 63 to enter the program, the major, at the end of the first year. Now, if you do not, or if you take the Math 157, you will require a slightly lower mark towards the end of the first year. And the reason for this is because typically Math 157, the higher the higher of the variant is a little bit more difficult, tend to be a little bit more difficult in terms of it's more abstract. So for some students, it means there's more proofs, but it's definitely a little bit more challenging, which is the reason why you'll see the minimum mark difference. So they also accommodate this and try to encourage students to take the course that they really would like to do and may want to challenge themselves as well. Statistics is also another one that is, for example, is one that it's more competitive and requires a variable minimum grade of course average among these courses. Math 137, sorry, Stat 130, Math 137, or combination of 157. Again, achieving the minimum mark does not guarantee admissions. This past year, for example, I believe that the average was in the high B's. Now, so when you're looking at there are also other math first year courses. So these are the other combinations of variants that you'll see, but it's important that you actually make sure that you take the right combination or the right course for the purposes of your program. So for all intended purposes for computer science, math and physical sciences, you would need to consider either the combination of 135, 136, Math 137, or Math 157. All the other ones are applied calculus or math that are for a specific field of study. For example, Math 133 is good in all intensive over commerce. However, I think even economics would prefer or would highly recommend that you at least have Math 135, 136. For computer science and math and physical science, the default is typically Math 137, between Math 137, and if you want to challenge yourself or thinking of doing a specialist in chemistry and physics, then Math 157 is the one that is highly recommended. You will also notice that there will be other math courses or other variants that are typically end with 1, 9, something, 3, 4, 5, 6. So as a group, it's a series. They're typically offered only to first year students only. And they are the first year foundation courses that are not intended actually for usually the category that you're in. So they're actually meant for students who are pursuing, who are not actually admitted to the same category, that are maybe taking these courses for breadth requirements. So here's an example. Again, for computer science, the variants we looked at again. So if we're admitted to the CSE admission category, these are the combo that you will take. If you're not, you might start with these 3 courses. So when you add up, it's almost equivalent. Well, it's actually equivalent to 1.5 credits here. And these courses here are for first year students. You will probably, even though, I mean, you could take them, but there are really mainly for students who are not in that category, maybe. So I would encourage you to maybe explore other areas and fulfill breadth requirements that way. Okay. So for math and physical science, for chemistry and physics, for example, I think this is a little bit more straightforward. You would, for most intent purposes, if you're in life science, you would take the combination of 35, which is a physical chemistry, and half of organic chemistry. Chemistry 135 and 136. The chemistry 151 is highly recommended if you're actually thinking of majoring in chemistry or pursuing a specialist. The same with physics. Stats variance, we've talked about that. So for statistics, actually, it's a little peculiar in a sense that there is actually only one stat course in outside the FY, the first year foundation courses. There's really only one course, not much to choose from. However, the statistics variants are mainly in the second year. So that means in your second year, you will probably have to start to choose the right one for the programs that you intend to do. You will see Stat 220, 221. These ones don't require first year requirements. So you could take them, but they're not really intended for students pursuing majors or minor in statistics. And these are just other variations of it, again, for stats for computer science and stats for actuarial science that has the higher variance. You'll also notice here that Stat 130 actually has a co-requisite of one of the first year calculus. You will recall that co-requisite means that if you, for whatever reason, decide to drop the calculus course, then technically you would have to drop the statistics course as well. Okay, so my final thoughts on variance. It's when considering a more advanced option than it is needed, be sure to evaluate your interest and capability. There always gets advice before from the experts, and the department's website are great help, or even you can even discuss that with reach out to them to get more information about that. But really, trying to decide which course, you will have the opportunity to do that, maybe test it out also in the first 2 weeks of classes. It's probably generally a good idea to do that with your courses and to settle in as soon as you can. But let's say after your first term, and then you also, so for some of these courses, you'll have the opportunity to consider drop-down options. So I just wanted to make you aware of this. You will get information from the department if that will be an option for you. So should you have, let's say, opted to do a more challenging course variant, and you feel like, okay, well, it's interesting, but I probably, based on, there might be many reasons why you may want to consider dropping down, and you will have an opportunity to do that sometime in October if there is an option to drop down. Now, if you have two programs that require stat courses, then it's important that you plan carefully and take the variant of the higher variant of the two, so that both departments will be able to accept. So how would you know that? Then you might have to consult with the department or talk to us, and we can let you know which variant will be the right one for you. So, for example, if you were to do economics, a major, and economics a major in stats, it's important that you take the right combination, that it would be acceptable to both. In this case, also I have psychology as an example, and then of course you would take the math higher variant, which is the stat 237. Okay, so you probably also have, if you have been interested in one of these math and physical science programs, and you feel like, okay, well, I'm not so sure if I want to have a better preparation in summer, we do have some Arrive Ready opportunities for you to take a pump course, which is a non-credit course that sort of provide you the necessary background to make sure that you're up to speed in preparation for your our first year calculus here. So there's Pump 1 and Pump 2, and you can find out more information on that. I believe the deadline to apply, this year they're offering it for free for students submitted, and you can apply by July 13th. There are also some introductory videos of Physics 100 level courses taught by Professor Harlow that you can sort of browse through. And there's a specific course, Introduction to Kinetics, that intended for science students who need to take Physics 131 that you may want to check out as well. Okay, so we talked about already quite a few about the first year foundations. I think I just wanted to quickly sort of mention here the reason why this is helpful for you when you're planning or thinking of elective courses. So suppose you are doing 5 credits. I think taking one of these first year foundation courses, it sort of gives you the opportunity to be in a smaller classroom. Actually, even though the maximum is 30, most of them are capped to 20. The benefits of doing the FYF seminars at Innis, for example, is that it's actually located in Innis College. So it will be also a great opportunity for you to meet and connect, have interactions with direction, and meet other friends at Innis, as well as they're all designed, all first year foundations are designed with first year students in mind, and professors are there to really offer additional and help to guide you through and help you acclimatize to U of T. So, and the recommended, but we do recommend that you limit this to a maximum to 1 full credit, and because typically these first year foundations do not generally count towards your program admission purposes. So you do want to leave the other options to take courses that will actually enable you to get into various programs. Okay, so now that you have gone through your course selections and more understanding of what you need and pick out your courses, you can actually start mapping out your core courses, list them in some sort of priority. Then the next thing that you need to do is turn to the timetable. From the timetable, so the course code here is this part is what you get from the timetable, calendar. And this other part here in red are the information that you will get from the timetable. From the timetable, you'll get to know whether if the course is offered in the first term, second term, it's a section code. And you'll also find out what tutorial, lecture section, delivery mode, and that all of this information is helpful in order for you to build your timetable. Okay, so let's talk about, so when you're planning for this, here are some tips as well. So it's important to have some backup for your elective in case you have some time conflicts. Of course, you will always slot these first because they are a priority for your timetable. And then you would fill out your timetable with your electives. And obviously, if there are time conflicts, that's why you may want to have different programs, different courses in order to be able to make up a timetable that works for you. It's important that you check prerequisites, co-requisites, exclusions for course sequencing, especially if there's a course that, for example, you would have to take chemistry, math 136 in the second term and math 135 in the first term, and not the other way around. In some instances, if they're not a prerequisite for each other, you could take them in various terms. And some courses are offered in the first and second term. So you could actually choose which term you want to do. Now, in the first priority enrollment period, you will be able to only add up to 5 credits, including 2 that would be waitlisted. And then the general enrollment period on July 30th, and that's when the priorities dropped and you will be able to add an additional course. So sometimes if you are on the fence in terms of your electives, that will be a good time for you to add the course, and then so that you can make a decision later on, perhaps which one to drop. Typically, I would say you should, as a first year student, you would aim to do 5 and no more than 5, because otherwise it's the longer you spread yourself too thin, and then you may have having to drop your courses. So the earlier, if you could settle in your course load by, let's say, the second week of class, that would be ideal. Now, we're going to go through some of the things that you will need to consider when making your timetable. First is the section code. At the moment, if you were to log in right now, you will only see a course listing that will tell you whether the course is offered in the first term, second term, or why throughout the term. University of Toronto has 2 academic sessions. The fall-winter session is considered 1, and then the summer session. Fall-winter session, the F course goes from September to December, and S course from January to April. And Y course will start from September all the way through April. Summer session mirrors the fall-winter session in that it's separate. It also has a first term, which is May, June, and the second term is July, August. The main difference is that for these is that you will have a more accelerated version of the course in the summer session. Typically, maybe 4 months to finish the F session. In the summer, you'll have 2 months to do that. Therefore, the maximum course load in the fall-winter session is 5, and in the summer is 2. So this is just an example of what the timetable tells you. Math 137, 135, it's offered throughout the year. So you will plan your timetable this way, fall and winter session. CSC 110 is actually, even though it's a Y course, it's a 1 full credit, but it is offered only in the first term. So it is accelerated and it's compressed into the 1 term. So you have to make sure that you allot the course load of, in this case, 2 in your first term, equivalent to 2 courses in your first term. And then CSC 111 is when you take half course in the second term. Now, Stat 137 happens to be offered both in the F or S. You can slot them in either way, and in this case, I'm just slotting it here just to balance the course load. Then the rest, you could fill it in with your electives. You'll notice here that I already have some time allotted for some of these FYF courses, because if the time is already actually posted for these ones. So you can actually check on the Innis website, Innis Foundation, and you'll be able to check these out right now. So the final timetable will be available we'll post it up at the end of June. So I would encourage you all to go log into the timetable at that time and start building your timetable. So another tip is to make sure that you are able to balance the course load both from the first term and second term. Okay, so this is what in your first page you will look. The course list is actually found here for free courses, and you'll be able to see the updated course list here. And this is what you will see. You will typically put in the course, let's say Math 137, and it will pop up. Here are some useful information just to let you know you can actually take courses from UTS, UTM, and other campuses. and as well as other faculty divisions. So here's like a quick link to those calendars if you happen to be looking for courses outside Faculty of Arts and Science. This tool, the timetable, is also a very powerful tool for you to search courses. You can search courses, click on advanced search, and be able to find courses, that only are offered in the first, second term. So you can use these various filters to find the courses that you want, and then add to your plan. You can filter courses through, let's say, you're trying to find courses that meet on a certain day. You can also do that as well. Okay, so what is it? So in the timetable, when it's updated, you'll be able to check delivery instructions. Now, this is important because you will find three different types. And for this particular year, it is important that you really choose carefully, because once your section, let's say for one course in math, you could find various sections. One section could be in person, another section could be online one section could be online in synchronous only. Now, you have to carefully plan which one you're going to be taking, because you may not be able to switch later on. Typically, after your second week of class started, then you basically have to commit to that. So it's important that you understand and consider those things and picking the right lecture section for you. So this is just an example. I don't have the current timetable. This is based on 2022, but 2020. But I just wanted to sort of show you other things that you may want to pay attention to that it's on the timetable instruction. So timetable instructions is important to sort of take a look. So sometimes they will give you additional information on what you need to do to apply. And some sections, especially e-courses that you have to go to the department, you may need to check out those instructions, as well as when lab begins in certain courses. The other thing important that you'll see is something called the enrollment control. You will recall that there are two admissions category and, not admission category, two enrollment period. The first one is the priority enrollment period, which is where your start time begins all the way through July 28th. And then on July 30th, you'll be able to add a sixth course. And then it is also at that time, the priority will be dropped for many of the courses that you didn't, let's say, previously meet the priority enrollment. You will be able to add those courses then. So in this case, Math 137, priority is given to in the first round to students admitted to the computer science, social sciences first, and math and physical sciences. So that means that even though those second year students went in ahead of you to take courses, you don't have to worry about that, because these courses are given priority to first year. So second year students who want to get into these courses will still have to wait until the general enrollment period. So here is an example for Math 137. If you look down, they'll offer the various lecture section. In this case, they're probably like around 8. That was based on it. And if you see all of that, consider the time and location, and then pick the one that suits your timetable, add to the plan here. So make sure that you pick one lecture section. And if you scroll down, you see some like the pink, all the tutorial sections, make sure you pick one as well. There are probably 35 tutorial sections, so you need to choose one as well. Sometimes I like to just write it down that you slot the lecture sections first, figure those things out first before you then go back and then add the tutorials, because that's just easier to accommodate, because you have more tutorial sections to accommodate. So for chemistry, and physics. They have, sometimes they will have alternating date labs. So it's important. I just wanted to highlight that information here, just so you can check those out and know for practicals when they meet. So typically students would, if you're taking a combination of chemistry and biology, you can actually slot them to slot the labs together in alternating weeks. So there are special instructions for that. But for the physics, the courses are actually, they meet every week. And so therefore you will not be able to slot them on the alternating lab with chemistry or biology. Now, then after, I think later in August, you'll have full information on the exact location where your courses would be. And so at that point, you may want to log back into the timetable or be able to sort of check what building course will your courses be if you are attending the courses in person. So there's just a map. Innis is located here. This is the west side, consider the west side of campus, central, and east. In theory, you could really have any courses here, but in most of the math and physical courses, like the chemistry, Blash-Miller, the physics courses, they're all in this quadrant. Typically, you can schedule courses back to back. During the day, you have 10 minutes. Classes start, actually, lecture sections start 10 minutes after the hour. And then in the evenings, courses that start with L5 something something, those are evening lecture. Those lectures start on the hour. So you do have 10 minutes to sort of go from class to class. So so now that you have the list and you can start having added all these like, the lecture section to the map, in real time, you'll be able to see how they slotted in. And you're also in real time, you'll be able to, as soon as you slot in something, they'll be able to sort of highlight time conflict. Now, this is important because you may need to then adjust it yourself. When you do a course enrollment, it is important for you to actually self-check all of this to make sure that there are no time conflicts, especially if the courses are done in person and are not synchronous. And finally, you can also check up there to view your timetable, which will kind of come up like this. You'll see that the timetable will display both the fall and second term. So you can check those. And then if there is a time conflict, you can see what has the time conflicts, then go back and make some adjustments. So you probably will have to do that back and forth a little bit. Okay. So ACORN does not prevent you, later on when you do enroll in courses, it does not prevent you from making enrolling courses that conflict in time. It does not check for you in real time. And so it is important for you to plan carefully. Another tip when you're doing this is to try to plot the tutorial sessions last. Make sure that the lecture sections are done first, and then you can start seeing what's available, and then you can slot the tutorial sections, because there are just more of them for you to be able to flexible to do that. So once you have this timetable, it's a reminder that you have to enroll in order to complete your registration in these courses. So this is just an official tool, timetable, which will give you all the important information, for example, the course code and the lecture sections that you want, the different tutorial sections that you want, so that you can start enrolling these, putting it into your enrollment cart on ACORN. So it's a separate website that you have to go to add your courses. Final check. Make sure again that you balance the course load. And now we're going to go through this checklist. Okay, so today you're here. You're doing this course planning, and you have until basically mark this date down, July 22nd, that's the day that you need to actually click enroll in those courses to be officially in. And you will know in real time whether you are in the course or not. And we'll talk about a little bit of a wait list, how the wait list works. So July 5th is the other day that you could go log into Acorn to enroll in your course, to look at your start time. The start time for a first-year student is kind of determined in category. We just want to break it down into blocks just so that you don't all go in at the same time. So that's the difference between that's what makes it start time different. So it's actually determined by your admission category. Then on July 22nd, at that specific start time that you were assigned, that's the optimal time that you go in to enroll in courses. You can enroll in those courses prior to this date and put it in the enrollment cart. Just sort of like put all the courses that you want in that. And then on the July 22nd, you just have to click enroll, enroll, enroll. And then that way you'll have it ready and just faster and be ready for that date. And basically after that, you still have some time. The priority period will last until July 28th and July 28th, and then on July 30th, you'll be able to add the 6 courses. So if you previously didn't have certain priority courses and you had to wait until this period to add them, this is another important date. So after that, once you add all your courses, then you should proceed to either pay for your first installment of fee, which is your entire fall winter session course fee, or defer your fees if you are eligible for provincial loans. Then the deadline to make those payments or deferrals is September 1st. Now, this is another important date because after this date, students who are not registered officially change from invite status to register status will have their courses removed. And once the courses are removed, there's no guarantee we can put you back, and there's a $61 fee that will apply. Then September 9th is when F and Y courses classes begin. September 17th is the day that the wait list for F and Y courses closes, and at the end of that day. So between the 17th and the 22nd, you'll have a period of course enrollment, which is called kind of the lottery. So there's no wait list, the wait list is off, and if students happen to be dropping the course between this time, the 22nd is the last date that you can actually add any of the F and Y courses. For S courses, you'll have all the way till January to finalize. So here's all the important academic dates and deadlines can be found here in this link below. And course enrollment instructions here. Okay, so what does it mean to be registered? So course enrollment, you have to enroll in courses plus paying your fees or deferring your fees, which is equivalent to the first 100% of the fall term fees, equals registration. And that date is September 2021, 1st. So you would, if you have any financial issues or would like to speak to a financial aid counselor, or you're welcome to do that before that date, preferably before that date, before you have to be financially counseled. So just wanted to make sure that you do reach out if you have difficulty meeting that deadline. Okay, note about fees. You'll be able to look at the invoice on Acorn as soon as you add your courses. And then typically most of you will be defaulted to paying program fee, which is prorated 5 full credits, and you can pay up to you can take up to 6 courses. And there's a program freeze date, which is September 22nd. If you actually intend to do less than that, or you are in accessibility, you need to be taking changing to per course fee, then you will let us know, and we will try to make sure that we change you to the per course fee if you're taking less than 3 full credits. Sorry, 4 full credits. Okay, so let's see, there's a link for the fee schedule and instructions on how to pay. Okay, so final thoughts. ACORN does not check for prerequisites and co-requisite and exclusion, but departments will. So you may be removed from the courses at any time, even after classes started. So to avoid disappointment or surprises, make sure that you do check those things. ACORN also does not prevent you from making timetable conflicts. Again, plan carefully. Dates, there are some dates that there will be no course enrollment. So you don't be surprised if you go in on the July 29th, August 3rd or 5th, and then say you're not able to add courses. That's because we need to take those times off to make adjustment, put the waitlist off, adjust waitlist, all of that stuff that we do in the back end. And that's why there are specific dates here that there's no course enrollment. So the waitlist again will be turned off on the 17th. So if you have any questions and you still by then not quite sure you get into all the courses, it's important that you do reach out, and we'll be happy to help you with that at the registrar's office. The last day to add or change F and Y courses is September 22nd. So, okay, now the following session, I think it's important to, once you get all of these academic courses and course planning out of the way, it's important that you try to sort of make other connections, so which is what you will do this afternoon with the student life student panel. And you may want to also consider looking into the first year learning community, and that the deadline is also coming up on July 9th. Okay. All right, that concludes my session. And again, we don't expect you to know all of this, and you may want to, if you have questions or you have transfer credits questions and or course selection issues, please don't hesitate to contact us. We can be reached by phone, and we can actually make one-on-one appointments. And I think Denise is going to be organizing some Q&A, question and answer questions at the end that you could log into to ask your questions as well. So these are really good resources for you to have. And here's my email. So if you have any questions, contact me directly. Okay, thank you. And look forward to seeing you in September.